Top 10 My Hero Academia. Boku no Hero Academia fights. Boku no Hero Academia is one of the best superhero animes you'd ever watch, and if you don't agree, then be ready for a fight. Set in a world where humans have the ability to develop superpowers known as quirks, it tells the story of Izuku Midoriya, a young boy who has dreams of becoming a hero, even though he lacks quirks and is grossly bullied for it. One day, one of the greatest heroes, All Might, meets Izuku. Enamored by his determination to become a hero, All Might passes his quirk to Izuku, which makes him super strong, but that also makes him the arch nemesis of a very powerful villain. In this video, we will be looking at my list of the top 10 best fights in this anime. And yes, All Might gets to fight the super powerful villain. Make sure you watch till the end so you don't miss the fight. Also, if you have any questions or opinions, make sure you drop them in the comments section below. Without wasting any more time, these are the top 10 My Hero Academia Boku no Hero Academia fights. Number 10. Deku vs. Todoroki. Our first fight scene today is the fight between Deku and Todoroki. Deku is Izuku Midoriya's nickname, while Todoroki is the son of Endeavor and is considered one of the strongest students at UA High School after he came second in the UA Sports Festival and the Quirk Apprehension Test. His quirk is called Half Cold, Half Hot, which allows him to control both fire and ice from each half of his body. He is more comfortable with his glaciogenic because of the resentment he feels towards his father. Well, that was until his fight with Midoriya. As you'd expect, it was a really tough fight, but Todoroki wasn't getting anywhere, not by using only half of his power. Angered by Midoriya's words, Todoroki unleashed the full strength of his pyrogenic side, and for the first time, we saw him use both fire and ice at full capacity in one fight. Good thing the teacher stepped in and stopped the fight. They both wouldn't have survived it. Number 9. Deku vs. Overhaul. There are so many battles in Boku no Hero Academia, but only a few of them are as hair-raising as this fight. This was the final battle between Midoriya and Overhaul, the Hasakai boss, during the Shy Hasakai raid. The fight had been going on for a long time, but it became more intense after Overhaul tried to escape with Eri through an opening in the cave. As you'd expect, Deku immediately goes after him in a bid to save Eri, which was a very daring decision seeing how powerful Overhaul is. Eri unknowingly activates her quirk, which causes Overhaul and Nemoto to become separate, and helps Deku activate One for All at 100%. With his quirk at 100%, he is able to battle Overhaul in his final form, and believe me, it wasn't an easy feat, but it had to be done. This battle would have your heart in your mouth throughout, but thankfully, Deku won. Number 8. Aizawa vs. Villains. Shoto Aizawa has a rather strange quirk, which allows him to erase his opponent's quirk by looking at them, which means he never blinks, so as not to break the connection. This battle was between the pro teacher and several unnamed criminals who were members of the League of Villains, and it took place at the Central Plaza. At the beginning of the battle, some members of the League's firing squad aimed at him, but he did not only dodge the attacks, but he also erased their quirks, before lifting 3 criminals in his scarf and making them crash into one another. This is when one of the criminals recognizes Aizawa as the erasure guy, and warns everybody of his quirk. At the end of the battle, Aizawa manages to defeat most of the villains, and even tries to go after Kurogiri, but is cut off by other villains. Number 7. Endeavor and Hawks vs. High End. Before we look at this fight, here's a little insight on the species referred to Nomu, which High End is a part of. The Nomu are dead individuals whose bodies have been modified by Dr. Garaki, which has turned them into some sort of super soldiers capable of holding multiple quirks. And because they have no higher brain function, they're just basically mindless soldiers doing the bidding of their masters without any emotions. You don't need anyone to tell you that Endeavor or Hawk alone is no match for this being, despite their ranks. But when the number 1 pro hero Endeavor and the number 2 pro hero Hawks get together, they make a pretty formidable team, as we can see in this scene. Even though the fight got off to a very sloppy start, the pair managed to kick the Nomu's ass so bad everyone felt it. Hawks did, however, lose almost all his feathers. But hey, anything for the win, right? Number 6. Kirishima and Fat Gum versus Rappa and Tenge. I always like to think that the more the combatants, the merrier the fight. At least for me watching it. I'm not really sure how the combatants feel about that. This battle is a perfect example of my reasons for coming to this conclusion. Fat Gum is one of the pro heroes who is with his student Kirishima, also known as Red Riot, when they were attacked by Rappa and Tenge. Rappa attacks first with a flurry of punches, but Red Riot protects himself with his super move, Red Riot Unbreakable, which protects him from the direct punches, but sends him flying backward, which is shocking because Red Riot's move is not supposed to be broken like that. Fat Gum shows why he is a pro hero as he takes the attacks head on. As the fight progresses, Red Riot gets hurt, but Fat Gum assures him that the fight wasn't lost yet. Fat Gum eventually carries Red Riot to victory using the power of the shock absorbed from Rappa's incessant attacks and finishes off the duo with a powerful punch that breaks Tenge's barrier and sends them both flying. Number 5. Mirio versus Overhaul.
Predict his next move! I am still Lemillion! I can't believe it.
Actually, this fight between Mirio Togata, also known as Lemillion of the Big Three, and 2 members of Shai Hasakai, Overhaul and Chronostasis. The fight takes place during the raid by Shai Hasakai as Lemillion was trying to save Eri. After defeating Shin Nimoto and Didoro Sakaki, he now has to face Chronostasis and Overhaul, who is Eri's father, even though he doesn't act like it. I mean, he literally put her in harm's way by trying to crush her after turning the ground into a bed of spikes. To make matters worse, Lemillion does not have to deal with only Overhaul. Chronostasis keeps sending attacks his way. It was a little too much for Lemillion to handle, but Deku shows up superhero style and saves the day. Together with Night Eye, he takes on Overhaul. Number 4. Midoriya versus Muscular. This fight happened during the invasion of the training camp by the Vanguard Action Squad. Muscular had confronted Koto Izumi and was harassing him to trade his hat for the villain's mask. When Koto refuses, Muscular tried to attack, and that is when Midoriya entered dramatically. Muscular underestimates Izuku, thinking that he was too weak to protect Koto from him, and goes on to reveal that the villains were ordered to kill Izuku on sight, and this was his chance. However, Muscular learns his lesson after Izuku hit him with the 1,000,000% Delaware Detroit smash right in the face that sends him flying. Not even his muscle fibers could save him this time. After the fight, Izuku is clearly exhausted and crumbles to the ground. Number 3. Midoriya versus Bakugo. This fight isn't just a fight for pride and dominance, it is the fight between former childhood friends and longtime rivals. As you'd expect it, it was mind-blowing and a tad bit emotional. Bakugo was the friend that was always bullying Izuku because he was weak and quirkless. So you can understand what this meant for Izuku. Even after pleading with him, Bakugo stubbornly challenges Izuku to a fight, telling him to put his guard up or risk getting hurt. After a series of attacks, Izuku realizes that he must fight the battle to put Bakugo's mind at ease, even if he allowed Bakugo to claim victory. In this scene, we are shown the truly selfless nature of Izuku Midoriya. Number 2. All Might versus USJ Nomu. This fight remains one of my best fights in the show, and I just couldn't decide where to rank it. In this fight, we got to see All Might's terrifying power, and I truly felt sorry for the Nomu that was on the receiving end. What made the fight even more interesting was that the Nomu's quirk was shock absorption, and it was created mainly to defeat All Might. This meant that the Nomu knew his weakest point, and at a point, Izuku and his friends had to step in to save All Might. But the dynamic smash that sent the defeated villain flying was satisfying enough. Number 1. All Might versus All for One. This is the fight everyone has been waiting for. The fight between the Symbol of Peace and the leader of the League of Villains. The battle was really heated as the two most powerful beings exchanged blows that created powerful shockwaves. It was obvious that All for One was trying so hard, and he was able to land some devastating blows. But All Might ended the fight with his ultra-powerful technique, United States of Smash, that defeats All for One once and for all. And that brings us to the end of our video today. Let us know if you agree with our lists in the comments section below. And remember to leave a thumbs up on our video. See you in the next video.